Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another night within Odessa, Dark Crusade, Season 2. Tonight we set the scene just outside of Odessa, within the halls of the castle within Timeraan. The head of its nobility, and also the center of its garrison. We zoom into a bedroom, deeper into the fortress quarters. We hone in on the bed, in which Eirene is silently sleeping. Badly scarred and mauled. She simply rests completely still and lifelessly underneath an illustrious red quilt. And a well-made duvet. Over the past couple of weeks, Eirene has been in torpor, sustained from injuries in combat with a mysterious force she not yet knows the identity of. And had she not been rescued, she would have likely met final death that night. She has been taken here. And now, as the sky clears and the moon reaches its apex, what little life remains in Eirene begins to return to her. And she silently begins to jostle on the bed, moving ever so slightly, and her conscience slowly returning to her.
Yay! Yeah, I guess, Irene will open her eyes and look around. A little confused at first, like this is not what... But yeah, trying to find out where she is. And
it's very, very painful to move because you've only healed 2 aggravated wounds.
Ouch.
You've only healed off the torpor one and the incap one, so you are still crippled. There is still a giant gaping hole in your chest and partway through your stomach.
Ouch.
It is partially sealed, but you can still see your own intestines. If you decided to look underneath the quilt where all the pain is coming from.
Probably.
You would see your organs have rearranged themselves, and that's really about it. And you are bleeding, because Canites don't bleed unless they will it.
Yeah, she's looking under the blankets and then kind of makes a face at that as she's slowly remembering, like, oh yeah, that happened. And we'll then still try and sit up.
Difficult, doable.
And we'll look around to see if, like I said, where she is. Or look outside to see if, like, she can spot, like, is it very dark? Is it early dark? You know, just the regular stuff that you do.
It is dark. You do look through glass windows. The curtains having been pulled on them, and you notice they are sunproofed. The room is entirely lit by various candles, some held by holders on the walls, others simply arranged on bedside tables and cabinets, various cabinets. It's a very soft ambient glow to the room, but it is fairly well lit. It's a little bit dim.
Does she recognize it? That's like the surroundings, the room, and everything.
Roll chance dice if you do.
Okay. What dice roller are we in?
I'm just going to do someone else. No, you don't. Also, I will set up the dice roller. There you go. Dice roller 3. But no, you don't remember. You don't recall this place. It doesn't seem recognizable to you.
Okay.
It's aristocratic, and you think, judging by when you look out the window from the angle you look out of it, you think you're a story or two up.
Okay. Well, that still doesn't need to say much. So she's going to look around to see if there's like anything that would serve as a weapon, just in case, because
Again, there is like a giant candlestick.
Sounds great. She'll just reach for it and
Yeah, it's a chamber stick. You could use that. There's no swords, nothing like that.
That's okay. And she'll just wrap the quilt around her, and will slowly try and stand up and move towards the door.
At crippled, you may only crawl.
Oh wow. Okay. No, in that case, she'll try, and quickly decides this is not for her yet.
Yeah, kind of the pain kind of courses, like because the pain's like based in your chest and your stomach, but part of it's like also like that pain kind of radiates out, and it does affect it. Like it is immense pain. You're really only in any semblance of comfort when you're staying still or lying down. Then the pain is a lot dimmer, and you can ignore it mostly. But you can't really perform any strenuous activity right now. You can't even stand. It's just that bad.
Yeah, well, she's just gonna kind of lean against like a post of the bed, and probably just gonna wait, keeping the candle stick nearby, because if someone is gonna try something, she will still try and defend herself.
So you're kind of out of the bed, just kind of hanging on to a
sitting on the side of on like the bedside, on the side of the bed, and just leaning against, like, if I look at the picture, I see like a poster bed. So
okay. Pardon? You see a
like on the picture, there's a bed with like the high
yeah,
I
with
don't know.
a pole.
Yeah. So she would be like leaning against that and kind of.
Yeah, you can lean against it. Yeah, that's the sort of bed you're sleeping in. Yes, you do that, and you kind of hide your chamber stick underneath the bed. You hear a knock on the door.
She won't say anything. He just kind of waits.
Okay. A few seconds pass, and the door opens, and it reveals a familiar face to you. 1 second. Can't find it. It's Caucasian woman, a servant who looks a little bit out of place in a region such as this. She walks over to bed, sees you, sees that you are conscious, looks rather startled, and immediately bows to you. You recognize this as one of Ulric's schools. She says, "Lady Eirene, you are awake."
Yes. Are you all right?
Yes, I shall. I shall fetch. I shall fetch the prince immediately. I shall be but a single moment. She's going to hurry on out, unless you say something to her.
She'll just ask. Is this Timeraan then?
Yes, you have been brought to the prince. You've been brought to Prince Ulric's domain.
Oh.
We received you from the seneschal of Edessa.
Oh. All right.
We have been ensuring your your recovery.
I mean,
Swift recovery.
yes, I presume.
If you are curious, it has been about a week and a half since we received you. I believe the Setites had you in their possession for approximately 24 hours, at which point the seneschal received you from them, and after about 48 hours within his care, you were handed off to us.
Setites. Oh.
Yes,
Keeper.
I do not know the identities of those that
It's fine.
gave you to the iridescent seneschal, but I'm sure the prince of this domain, our prince, knows. I'm sure he is aware.
Yes. Thank you. If you would like to notify him, I will be here. There's a little bit of a smile there. It's like, not like she can go anywhere else really easily. But,
oh god, I don't have to use the chamber stick. You do notice you aren't hungry.
Mm. That is good. How not hungry?
You're not full, but you're mostly satiated.
Okay, and she will spend 3 blood points to heal 1 egg.
There's 5 blood points to heal an egg, and it takes an entire night.
5. Shit. Well, it's not like you can move anyway.
When you look at your wound, it does look like it's in the process of healing. You don't recall seeing it when you were torpid. It just happened so quickly. You just remember being stabbed with a torch, it shattering your armor, and you going, and then just kind of blackness from there. But it's you do remember being ran through. You do remember being ran through, and it's sealed again through this realignment of organs that seem to have at least taken their appropriate place now, and the bones and cartilage involved being secure enough that they're simply not dropping out.
Yeah.
But but it's still a pretty gruesome sight to look at. Like, this is definitely not you at your best. You are pretty
Yeah.
horrible. You wouldn't be able to go out like this. You
No.
would be a breach of the silence.
Yeah, that's why she's still covering herself with like the blanket, and she'll slowly just kind of feel her back to feel like, did it go through there as well? Jesus.
You touch your back. That the back is more well sealed. The wounds there have largely scarred over, but yes, there is a very heavy scar there. And if you use there is a hand mirror on the bedside table. If you use that, you can see that it's a pretty gruesome looking, vaguely circular scar, charred, largely black.
Ugh.
But that side is actually healed to some extent, but your front side really hasn't.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, and as you kind of inspect your wounds, again, and putting yourself through a significant degree of pain in doing so, it is really kind of hard.
I mean, in all honesty, if it's hurting so much, she will probably not do it. But
We can say you do it, but then it's just you just stop because it's kind of that thing where you reach around and you look at it, but you can only really gaze upon it for a few seconds because it's just so painful. The pain just constantly escalates as you kind of move your arm in an awkward fashion, twist your body, and you can feel the pain in your chest and stomach just double, and you just kind of end up lying on your back and getting back into bed.
I mean, she would prefer to keep sitting, but
you can sit as well. A bit more painful to sit up straight, but you can do it. And but yes, as you kind of sit up straight and you spend a few seconds trying to put yourself into a more comfortable position, it's just so you end up fidgeting a lot because the pain causes you to do that. Like you're just constantly trying to compensate for the constant pinpricks of pain in your body. The prince himself will walk in.
Eirene will spend the willpower to stand up and try and curtsy.
Oh god! You spend the willpower, you stand up, you curtsy, and then you fall over.
Fine.
You successfully pull off your curtsy. You won't say that. You kind of just drop to your hands and knees because you can still crawl. You just can't really stand, but you pull through. You stand up. You do that curtsy, and it just goes, Christ's name, Eirene, get back into bed. He'll,
Good to see you.
good to see you too. He'll actually very gently lift you up and put you back into bed. There's no need to stand on ceremony in such a state.
Especially in a state such as this, it is important to stand on ceremony.
No, do not. The last thing I want to see you do is harm yourself. Any more than you already are.
Sorry. I didn't mean to worry you.
It's quite alright. Besides, you look quite gruesome right now.
She'll, pull the blanket over her to cover that part up because,
yes.
She doesn't need to see that. Ulric doesn't need to see that.
Quite sore upon the eyes.
I apologize for that. I didn't mean to run into... what was it again? Something big and sharp.
Yes. You tend to run into those quite quite often. In fact, may I say you are quite talented upon falling on the sword.
I think a sword is the first time for this. It usually was a stake, and it usually was you.
Ah, that was our second or third meeting, was it?
Second, I believe.
Falls over a chair and sits. He holds one of your hands. I'm glad to see you awake so soon. I was concerned you may have been lost to us for the better part of a decade.
I would hope not.
Is a sign you are still yourself.
Would I not be? Were you afraid of that?
No. No, I was. If there's one side of if there's one side of you I have a lot of faith in, it would be that.
To be myself. What happened? I mean, I know what happened, but...
Well, the Seneschal was kind enough to inform me on what occurred outside of Odessa. And that is, it is very... It makes me mournful. I know I'm not the only one that feels that way. But after that, it was the well, it is our very it is our very enthusiastic. It was our very enthusiastic guest, Saladrin, who rescued you from the battlefield. There were a few questions lingering as he took you to the temple and not to one of your clan. But within a day of holding you, they brought you to us, to the Seneschal, who then handed you off to me, and you've been here recovering ever since. Your rescue incurred a boon, which I have taken on at a reduced cost, as I'm a prince, and have already resolved.
Oh.
So there will be no political ramifications for your rescue or your fall in combat. That has already been taken care of.
You shouldn't have done that.
Of course you would say that.
How can I ever return such a price?
You do so every night, Eirene.
Well, I apologize for giving you trouble.
Honestly, this was perhaps one of the smoother potential life boons I've ever had to deal with. I suppose being the prince has its perks.
May I ask how it got resolved?
you'll find that we have a new scourge. He will be in his position for 6 to 12 months. It is largely a means to actually aid the domain of Edessa. Being scourge, well, as prince, I provide certain resources to those of station in the domain. I believe that was the goal behind this, to give the individual status and resources that they would need in order to assist in hunting down the larger threat that inhabits this county. I believe we both know the one.
Yes.
So it is largely to everybody's benefit, and I did not expect this from the followers of Set, but they have proven themselves very surprisingly honorable in their dealings.
I've never had much contact with them, but as far as I'm concerned, they've usually been honorable. I've never had much reason to think otherwise.
They exhibit a set of ideas that I don't find particularly palatable, but when they handle it with moderation and the compassion that such ideas need in order to be tolerable, I can accept them. I have actually found most Setites I deal with do tend to exhibit ideas in such a light, if only because the rest of Chaotic Society does act as something as a check on their power in that regard. I should, before I forget, the Setites did say they did claim they attempted to wake you, but otherwise did nothing to bind you to them.
I see.
Are you feeling strange right now?
I mean, there's a pretty big hole in my body. I feel strange.
Fair enough. I think that would. I suppose that would could confuse the blood bond in a sense, given that a good portion of your heart may be missing.
I may hope not. I'd need it again.
For the record, Eirene, you're in like a little dressing gown, like a little, well, a nightgown, basically. Very plain.
Well, at least it covers up the hole.
It does. Although the scars actually do reach, like, because the impact was so great, it does reach kind of the upper side of your chest where it doesn't cover.
Do you know if the situation outside of Edessa has been resolved?
I have heard there was a battle. Supposedly an Assamite was rescued.
An Assamite?
I don't know all the details.
I see.
But I don't believe this praxis is yet over. In fact, I believe this may be the start. From what I've heard, it appears these burnings weren't even to kill the neonates, they were just to draw out more prominent figures. It appears they've been successful in this.
I see.
You will need to remain here for a few nights to recuperate properly. But when you do, I would suggest you check in on your ghoul, as it will have been some weeks. I have my own ghoul frequently travelling to and from Odessa, usually under a very heavy armed guard. I have heard that these invading Canaanites now rather openly stalk the streets of Odessa.
I see. Well, most of my ghouls are either rather well protected or are guardsmen, so.
That's good to hear. Do be careful though.
Of course.
Obviously, if they're attempting to bait people like you out, then likely they're using your absence to attack your assets and your mortal allies, such as your ghouls.
I understand. Can I send a letter with your ghoul to mine?
Yes, I will have one of my ghouls write for you. You just simply tell them what to write.
I can write.
He gives you a stern look.
Of course, as you wish.
You must rest.
I don't want to.
I know. But take your time to recover, and then you'll be able to do what you feel you must. There is no point fretting over what you cannot control.
I had another dream.
Oh.
I think it was about the person that is attacking Odessa right now.
I see.
He's not wrong.
Which one?
Salubri.
No, he is not. The usurpers only have a place because they stole it from somebody else.
He's working together with Herman.
I don't know much about Herman, other than when he lashed out at court many, many months ago.
Yeah. I only heard he left afterwards.
Likely internal politics from the clan.
Are you sure?
Let's just put it this way. Usually when someone contests the praxis, they die.
I see.
The seneschal is alive because he arranged to effectively step aside in exchange for his original position. So there was no need for conflict. Herman, however, would have been, or rather was, unwilling to back down, clearly. So his options were either to fight or to leave. And given that the Venture already have their prince, well, his position is rather superfluous. I suppose he could have remained as primogenitor, but I doubt he would have been happy to bow before an upstart who'd never been in the city until recently. I must say, both the prince and the senator have done a rather admirable job in getting people to transition, but with this new Praxis war, perhaps I was wrong.
What do you think about it?
I think this is a rather inevitable fight that Odessa is having with itself.
Will that ever stop?
These wars, yes. The jihad, I would like it to, but it never seems to end. But the writings you recovered from Michael's vault, they may provide us with the answers we need to finally end it. If not for others, then at least for ourselves.
Would you want that?
I would. This ceaseless conflict, I have seen my fair share of it, and well, I have no fondness for it.
Nor do I, but
I find it is nothing more than a cycle that seeks to justify itself for its own existence. It is a cycle of struggle and blood defined only by its own circular reasoning. So if I'm able to choose to walk away, then I shall.
but what will happen with everyone else? What will happen to me if you're gone?
I would take you with me
But
if
we
you
would
would be able to come with me, but
I would follow you anywhere, but I would mourn for those that we leave behind.
we can't make these choices for everybody. Part of why the jihad exists is because people keep doing so.
I don't mean that. Of course they need to make their own choices. But I want to help people.
I know. And trust me, you walking away or remaining a part of the jihad, that will have no impact on whether or not you're able to help people. I don't think you'd stop. Even if you were told not to, even if you were required not to maintain such enlightenment these tomes allude to, I still think you'd do it. So I wouldn't fret over it, because one way or the other, you can't help yourself.
I must be a terrible addition to your clan.
You are a refreshing addition to my clan.
I hope the seneschal is not too disappointed in me.
You punched above your weight. I think he'd be proud of you. There's another knock at the door, and the lady walks in again. She says, Prince Ulric, the Seneschal would like to meet with you. Dora just goes, I shall be there within a few minutes. She leaves, she curtsies and then leaves. Picks up the door and says, well, it appears business takes me away from you, as always.
I'm sorry I cannot accompany you. But, well, I doubt business would run very smoothly.
I think everybody would be too busy fretting over you and the hole in your body.
Well, at least I'll have time to catch up on my reading.
You will. My ghouls here will visit you every 30 or so minutes. If you need anything, there is... He points to one of those ropes which like sends a bell down to a lower floor or something. Just pull on that and it will ring and someone will come for you.
Of course, but they don't need to check up. I would hate to keep them from their work.
If nothing else, you will need to be regularly fed.
Not every 30 minutes, I may hope.
No, but if you wish to read, someone's going to have to bring you a book. Stop trying so hard to do it all on your own. Okay?
As you wish.
Move your head slightly, kiss Eirene on her cheek, and then softly on her lips, and say, You will, Eirene. I shall be back in, well, hopefully less than an hour, but the Seneschal is a talker.
Take your time, please.
As you wish. He will rise from his seat, and he will begin walking to the exit of the bedroom, and leave and close the door behind him. Actually, he won't. He'll send a servant in who will ask you if you want anything, and I think with your response, we can end the scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she'll just ask for a few books.
And she will begin acquiring you a small library.
Yeah.
As we can end the scene there. Thank you, player, for playing. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you all next time. Goodbye.